support for the outfeed, I'm going to use a sliding mitre, so I set the bevel on my table saw at 50 degrees. I then cut a piece of 12mm ply down to the desired dimensions. To make the sliding mitre, I screw the two rails on either side using pilot bit and then screw through. I sand the sides to make sure it runs properly. I then attach the other rail, making sure it's properly aligned. And then check it's sliding as it should before fully securing. I made the sliding mitre oversized, so I cut it to length and then trim it down on my table saw. To make sure the end doesn't slide out, I attach a piece of wood using screw and glue to make sure that the mitre doesn't slide more further than it should. I line the mitre on the outfeed and use a standard door hinge as a pivot point for the support. I make sure it's evenly spaced at each end and then screw it in. To attach the locking mechanism, I'm going to use a 10mm insert nut that's tightened via an Allen key and also a spring-loaded pin like this. The pin screws into the insert nut, and the thread on the pin has a nut on it at the top, which means you can vary the height. I drill a 12mm hole into the sliding mechanism and then secure the insert nut using an Allen key. The spring-loaded pin's then screwed in, making sure it's at the right height. To mark where the hole needs to go, it's tapped with a hammer, and then the hole of 6.5mm is drilled. That then means that the pin can lock in place. To make a stay for the outfeed support, I use two pieces of 12mm ply glued and screwed together and then attached to the underside of the outfeed. A hole is then drilled in the block for an insert nut to be screwed in, and then another piece of 12mm ply is attached using a bolt. That forms the stay. For the support to sit on, I use a 30mm by 30mm piece of pine, align and mark where it needs to sit. Mark where I need to drill holes, and then pilot drill. And then screw into the table saw station using some 70mm screws. Using some 60mm bolts, I attach the outfeed to the table saw station, making sure it's pivoting correctly before using a level to set it at the correct height. Once I know the length that the stay needs to be, I drill a hole for the pin to lock into and make sure it's locking in as it should.
That's the end of the video. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, feel free to give me a thumbs down. But please give me some feedback if you didn't like it and why, and I'll try to improve. hopefully see you again soon.